Turns green, so that one's always on.
The other ones you have to hold.
Yeah.
You have to hold on to talk.
Hold on it to talk?
Yeah, hold on.
The light will be green.
Yeah, he just did it.
It's got a green light.
Turns on green, then you can just speak to it.
I don't even like seeing that now, that wore me out just looking at that little picture. Holy cow. Should have rented one of them Bobcats, skid loader with. I was hoping you would back and forth.
Oh my gosh, where's that at? Your house?
Yes.
So I'm so upset. Oh, yeah, I heard.
Okay.
So, that guy leaves every other year. Well, Zach.
Yeah, okay. I picked 20 of them, I counted about 60 or 70.
Turns on, so you just keep it on and just talk into it. I think the rest of them. Yep.
Can I let John talk? Hey, John.
You can rent them, skid loader with a jackhammer on it.
Sorry, we're housing area. So, I do it.
The first two rows they're picked up by the camera. Picked up by the camera.
This should look
I don't even know if it's being podcast.
but if this is the visions and everything that governs them, yeah.
No, it's in phase.
That's totally okay. As a citizen, you have every right to do that. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Mark said he's very.
And Cindy, Mark, and Cindy. By the time you got here, hi Laura. Hi Laura.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock, and this is the March 9th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It's 5 p.m., so we'll get started. Hector, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Boston,
Here.
Brodeen,
Here.
Cassidy, Eilers, Grundler,
Here.
Isom, Valbrach.
Here.
Okay, item 2 on the agenda, approval of the meeting minutes from January 17th, 2024. Does anybody have any changes that they see need to be made to the minutes? If not, they stand approved as distributed. Item 3, discussion on parking rules, Chapter 72. Hector, you want to give us a quick background on this and get us started?
Yeah, so we had a city council meeting on March 25th, and we had discussions on potentially having the Planning and Zoning Commission review and make some adjustments to the Chapter 72, just to clarify and make modifications to be aligned with like Chapter 156. As you can see, there was some requests on those proposals as like hard surface and like such as like concrete, asphalt. It's like compared to like the previous, and it's like changing like the approaches from the different materials. Like I mentioned, it's like compared to like previously, front yard driveways, side and rear yard driveway parking, just as well as like parking pads, as making changes to those. Let's see here. Looking at like I said, looking at article, just to make sure Article 156 is aligned with these changes as well. Modifying the driveway with allowance, and any like any previous parking and business and residential yard. Yeah, so that's pretty much just to be consistent with like I said, like I mentioned, 156 to be aligned. And I think, is there any other questions regarding that?
Was this just one of the, the city has been reviewing all these different chapters. Was this just time to review this chapter and all these topics came up, or was there a specific topic that came up?
There was some, like I mentioned, there was some inconsistency with the Chapter 72. Looking at those notes, like I mentioned, there is some proposed changes. I know that previously it's like hard surface parking has been a topic on there, so it's like we went ahead and made, there's been some requests for changes on the, for those and some particular like areas. Not too much changes. They're just like I mentioned, just to be more consistent with the Chapter 156, because with Chapter 156, we do include like hard surface parking on there, and we just needed to align a little bit closer with the zoning and like I said, to modify it because there's just needs to be some cleaning up on Chapter 72.
Okay. Well, I've spent, I don't know, probably about 6 hours going through that Chapter 150 or Chapter 72 and this 3-page memo that you gave to me. I mean, there's a lot of work here. I think we need to set this up with a working session like we did on the Planning and Zoning Commission, or the Planning and Zoning Regulations, about 2 years ago. And because we spent, I don't know, probably close to 80 hours working on that, in work sessions, and then people reading stuff at home and bringing comments to us and stuff on the commissioners.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can you turn your mic up or get it closer to your, I can't hear you at all.
It's on. It might be the background noise from this guy out here too.
I'm sorry, but that,
Can you hear me now? Is it any better?
absolutely.
Okay. It was a little far away then. So anyway, we need to set up a working session, I believe, and I've talked to a couple of commissioners and they agree that it's probably what we need to do. So, Hector, on this, does anybody give me your inputs on this?
Personally, thanks to the city staff for all the hard work getting all this aligned. I think it's overall going to be really good and make sense and be organized and be fantastic. There are pieces in here that bother me, but bother me a lot. But I think a comprehensive look as a group and getting some public feedback, a really good opportunity for public feedback, because there are some large-scale changes here in the appearance of our properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I echo that. Thank you for getting it all together and stuff, but it's definitely, I'm in agreement. I don't think it's something you just rush through. I know it's cleaning up, adding some language and stuff like that, but if we want to do it, we want to do it right, get it done.
Yeah, the way we did on the
So we don't
zoning
have to keep
ordinance.
changing things.
Yeah. Okay, so Sir, would you set this up for a work session for the commission?
Yeah, our typically work sessions just within the next Planning and Zoning Commission, are those?
I'd like to get on it.
Okay.
So if you can kind of survey everybody and
Okay.
set sometime next week, You're out of town.
There's a thing called a thrift sale happening.
Oh,
That week is
okay.
done.
But yeah, we do need to do something similar, like what we did,
Plan and zoning language,
when
yeah.
we did the language change and all that.
You're certainly welcome to the work session, but my input would be
You can always send me comments,
by
so,
emails.
okay.
I'll do it like
So does anybody have anything else to say on that topic? Is there anybody out here that has a specific part of the parking that they would like us to include when we talk about this in our work session? If you would come up and give your name and address and just give me a 30-second, this is what I'm interested in, so we make sure we cover it.
My name is Sherry Kokenauer. I live at 520 North Center Street. Hi. I have a nice long driveway. My property is 80 by 160, and my driveway is detached in the rear. I have a 5-bedroom home, and with the new proposal, it says I can only park 2 cars in my rear yard. I don't have front yard parking because I have a nice ribbon that goes up to my backyard. And I understand that I could add 0.5, which would give me 3 cars on a approved surface, and I have gravel that's maintained. I don't know how wide it is, and I also have a little turnaround in the back that I maintain. But it's unclear as to if I were to have a party and 4 of my kids come over, my dad comes over, and they can all park in the backyard, and then I might be subject to a fine. So the zoning 156 allows for new construction at the current time a minimum number of 2 parking spaces and a maximum of 4. So it seems that would be a reversion of what the original intent of the zoning law would be required. The parking that I would have in my backyard is not visible from the street, is visible from the alley, and I just don't think it's fair, because if you're on the south side of town and your driveway's in the front of the house line, you could have up to 4 cars parked in the front yard on your driveway, so it's inequitable. Thank you.
Okay, we'll make sure we consider that. Anybody else?
Tim Bradbury, 12 North 10th Avenue, Marshtown. Appreciate the hard work you guys go through, and it's interesting, intriguing, listen to you a lot on the tube. But several issues bother me because I'm in the older side of town, been there for 30-some years, and I don't have a front driveway. If we use the alley, the plows come through there maybe once and when they got time to do snow, and if they do, it piles it and you can't get out, then you can't go to work and stuff. So I got issues with where do you park besides the street? So then to help the city out, we park either in a vacant lot or a front yard, so when the ices can get iced up or salted and snow removed. But you made a timetable there that you got to be flexible, and then being able to park your vehicles. And then if you got several vehicles, you got a problem because you can't park in the alley, or you can't get through to even get in your drive and stuff because the city has a problem. They don't have the equipment and time to get everybody's alley. So that bothers me there. And then being an older house, I'd like to put driveways in, but there's just no room because it's too close to the front of the street and stuff. And then you talk about edging in a time period about gravel in the front edge between the sidewalk and the street, that loose gravel gets in the drains. I understand that a little bit. But also you got a lot of damaged streets that asphalt's always breaking up going in the street too. But I like you say, a work section, and then address each area of it to what kind of hardships it either causes or grandfather stuff in. I can understand new additions, new places. It's easier to make your driveways longer or cement and whatever. But like I got a couple extra vehicles being nearing the senior citizen age, that I can't just go out and go buy new vehicles, but I got My dad's dying, so I got his vehicle. It's a good car, old car. I got several older cars plus a pickup that I use. I was having a camper, but tornado took it. But I think I should have the right to have good running vehicles as long as my property ain't junkyard and all that, because there is issues with people that has too many and is a junkyard, and like to see those addressed. But also to somehow be able to be flexible with us that don't have a ton of money, but yet we keep our areas up, but yet have the right to have several vehicles run in order. I like to exchange my vehicles and do whatever, but just my right to. And I just like to be able to work with you guys on something like that. So thanks for your time.
I'm familiar with your problem and Sherry's also, because my grandparents lived in an older part of town, and their garage came off of an alley, and when we have family get-togethers, you know, there might be 8 cars parked there Sunday afternoon, but, you know. And also, one of the topics we're going to work on in this is the snow ordinance, where, you know, the city wants to get everybody off of the street as much as possible when they're plowing snow, but we really don't want people parking in the front yard either. So, like, how do we compromise on that for let people park as long as the snow ordinance is in effect? So that'll be discussed also. Anybody else?
One other thing on that was you also said something about being able to park like there's a bank over there, Lennox Credit Union.
I can't hear you. I'm
You know-
a senior citizen
Yeah.
also. My hearing's not as good as it
I'm
used
getting
to
to
be.
I'm getting to find that out. But also, something was brought up, and I didn't catch it all, about being able to park like in the Lennox Credit Union, if their lot's already plowed, or the store or something, and you want to move your vehicles over there, that you said that was outlawed or illegal. And I didn't understand that part, because
I'm not familiar with that.
that was brought up, and that it's not allowed. And so we all work together on things like that. And like Casey's, now semis are parking over there on 10th Avenue because they said they have a right to. There's no sign banning them from parking there. But issues like that, you know, there's so many areas to deal with, but that was one area too.
And I'll
that-
guarantee you, we won't
Yeah.
get every one of them right the first time either,
Right.
so.
And so when we're trying to help the city out by being off the street, we got to be flexible. And I just don't want somebody getting trigger happy on tickets to say, well, that's the law, so we got to do what we got to do. So
Okay, thanks.
My name is Paul Elam. I live at 1403 Brentwood Terrace. I understand that it's very difficult at best to make a ruling that one size fits all. I get that. I mean, you got to be smart enough to figure that one out. But here's my put, is that folks that own the properties in Marshalltown, people that own their house, I guess I'm getting tired of hearing, it's my house or my property, I can do whatever I want to with it. But people don't understand and they don't realize, as a property owner in this city, you have some responsibilities, not only to your neighbors, but to the city as well. You know, people in this city are trying to do the best they can about bringing business here, getting new people to move to our town and all this. All the junk and stuff that's sitting around, and now I understand there's over 500 violations right now with parking. I may be off on the numbers, but it's the same thing with dog owners, you know. When you get a dog, you have a responsibility not only to yourself, but your neighbors as well, and the city as well. You know, you can't just let that dog bark anytime. And the same thing could apply with your parking regulation. Let me ask you, or make a statement. If you can afford a $150,000 motorhome, you should be able to afford the parking in the storage area. Or if you have antique cars or cars that you want to keep that are family heirlooms and all that stuff, there's hundreds of storage sheds in Marshalltown that are available. So, you know, and again, I say to you folks, and thank you for what you do, but it's difficult at best to figure out what you can do to make rules that one size fits all. And somebody's going to be mad. I guarantee that. So have you considered that too? If you allow parking in your backyard, on the grass, or wherever you've done it, now.
That's why there will be a limit.
Well, here's my put, is that which I don't, but I own 100 storage sheds in this town, right? You allow people to park their cars in their backyards now. Well, I don't have to worry about renting a storage building now, Because 50 of my customers are going to say, I'm going to park my car in the backyard. Guess what? I'm going to close up business. I can't afford to lose 50 grand a year because of a parking ordinance. I think you need to consider some of that stuff. You can't, one hand, you write a rule, and the other hand, run people out of business. So that's my put. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean Cruzan, 304 West Southridge Road. Horrible at public speaking. My take against his is you have people with classic cars, and this is a very large racing community. You're telling these people that they can't put a vehicle outside without an engine in it and it moving. If it's, I have mine in the backyard. My back, it's on concrete. I have a garage in the back and a garage in the front. I moved my car out for a short time because I'm working on some railing and I get hassled. So there's got to be something, his idea with the storage unit, that's fine if you're not doing anything, but how can you work on it in a storage unit? Your tools are not there, your air compressor's not there. What do you do then?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, Hector will be looking for a email from you for a proposed date and time, and so. Okay, let's move on to the next item. Discussion of solar arrays, small scale. Could you give us a background on that one?
Yes, so going back to that chapter one, let me pull up my memo here, but yeah, so going to the memo, it's like I've recently, solar panels are very popular. So I have to do the processing for trade permits, and solar arrays are included in that small scale. So as of right now, it's at 156, the chapter that we adopted in April of 2022, allows on-ground solar at small scale as long as it's in a use towards the dwelling, and as well as commercial and industrial small scale. It's like we've just been getting a lot of more requests. We do allow currently grounded mounted solar arrays as long as they meet the rear, or they're located in the rear and interior of the side of the properties. And we would have to do type B buffering currently alongside those adjacent property owners, so, and public right-of-ways. And as you can see, I went ahead and attached those. I went ahead and outreach to different communities throughout Iowa, and also solar contractors. It's like there's different methods that we can go. It's like we can either do like solar. I know that Indianola does solar arrays with special use permits. So every on-ground special use permit, or every on-ground solar arrays have to go through a special use permit, which would be reviewed by the Board of Adjustments, meeting criteria for residential, and I believe commercial as well. And or as well, there's other communities, well, like in Des Moines area, that don't allow on-ground solar array just because the visual appeal about it. So that's kind of where I'm at. Or we can just continue leaving it as is, let's say with the type B buffering. So those are kind of the three recommendations that I kind of came up with.
Now, what we have right now with, the consultants and giving us all the inputs, and this is only, a year and a half old or something like that. Is what we have, is there something wrong with it, or is it just people want to do something different than what it says?
Yeah, there was 3 installations of in-ground solar arrays this year. They were issued this week, this week. And like I said, it's like buffering buffering is going to be installed afterwards, because solar arrays can't be installed while buffering is around it. But it's like people are so upset about the buffering, it's like not being on there, and as well as like the visibility of people having to see that around the neighborhood. They feel like it's not a residential use, and there's just, like I said, there's multiple calls related to those solar array permits. And like I said, it's like as of right now, the buffering is still not installed yet, but like I said, it was just issued this week, and we'll have to kind of just wait. But like I said, it's like they were very unhappy with the the proposed or the in-ground solar array.
I can understand how the neighbors might think that if they put in a in-ground solar array that they don't see mature trees right away, that, they didn't do it right. But it takes a while for those trees to grow once they're installed too and really fill out the buffering, so. Anyway, is there anybody who wants to talk about this topic? Please give your name and address and a short comment, please.
Dee Norton, 106 North 6th Street, and we are part of the disarrayed fact with them. So we have a lot that was split into two that the gentleman now bought for an apartment building, and he's putting the in-ground in. So I don't know if that's considered the back of his lot, because it wasn't his lot when he bought the apartment building, first off. Second off, 106 North 6th. Was it 103? 105. 105 North 6th Street. So, as I walk out on my front deck and sit down, now I see these solar panels. They put a 6-foot fence up, that's great, but I still see the top half of the solar panels and now a 6-foot fence in a strict residential. It's the only lot that is not built. So we have houses surrounding it with now these solar panels. As I look at your zoning and commission stuff, one of your things is quality of life, is protecting and enhancing character and property values of the city. I don't think my property value went up with putting those in. Improving the city appearance, I'm sure that's not going to go anywhere with that either. The other one I'd like to point out is limited use is compatible to the surrounding land uses. It's the only lot. The other thing is my understanding is that they started work on that prior to permit and site plan being issued. And when we ask for a permit, the people doing it are like, we don't know where it is, we don't even know if we have one. So I'm very concerned with that. I'm concerned about the fact that this is in the middle of a residential. It's definitely impacting our property values, our quality of life, because, I mean, you're going to sit and look at that now from at least 2 decks, and then from the house across the alley from that, and it doesn't fall in line with your own documentation that says what you're supposed to be doing. So just want to know how that's going to be addressed.
Hector, out of curiosity, have you looked at this property? I mean, this isn't an enforcement hearing. We don't do enforcement here. So, but just out of curiosity, have you looked at the property?
There's been, like I said, there's been a couple of properties I looked at. Off the top of my head, most likely, yes. I just don't know off the top of my head, what property it was.
So from my understanding, the scope of what we're talking about here are solar panel arrays that exist with another structure, not as the primary purpose of a parcel?
Yeah, so it's like, if it's the same one that I'm talking about, that's been combined in the county assessor, and they're becoming one lot.
Okay, so they already made it one lot, and then they're at it, it's already one parcel?
Yeah.
Okay, because I just wanted to make sure, we're just talking about solar panels that are not sitting on an individual parcel by themselves.
It's just
but as part of a
residential.
property
Yeah,
with an
property of
existing
parcel.
structure.
Yeah.
And did by chance they make it too high? Because we have a height limit on the backyard solar too, don't we?
Yeah, there's, like I said, looking at that section, there's only, it's like if it goes up to 6 feet, it'd have to be compliant with the setbacks for an accessory structure.
What about if it's higher than 6 foot?
It's like way taller, because I could stand there and I'm like close to 6 foot, not really, but I mean.
It's higher than 6 foot.
Yeah, it's way higher. It's at least 9 or more. Yeah.
Would you take a look at that? And get
Yeah,
back with us?
I was, like I said, I've been issued for different permits, and that's why I made this, but I don't know about that one.
You came
Okay.
because we told you to set, because I went over and asked them for a
Come to the
permit.
microphone.
And they didn't have a
Come to
permit.
the microphone. Please.
My name is Nancy Clare, and I live at 108 North 6th Street, right across the street from this. The guy that owns this place is a terrible landlord. It's garbage all over. I mean, he's got people that nobody would want to
Well,
live
let's
by.
keep it to the solar panel,
Okay, but the
please.
solar panel now, he just started doing that. And so I went over there and asked these guys that were I said, can I see your permit? Oh, well, we don't have one. And so he says, oh, it's probably back at the office. And it's V&K, right, that does, okay. So then I ended up calling Hector, and Hector says, well, they can't find a permit. So to me, when we built our garage, we had to have one. When our neighbor did, I mean, I don't understand why they don't have any of this taken care of.
There's permitting issues that always happen in the city where people
But something
start
like
something
this-
and, yeah.
There was a guy that wanted to buy that lot, but he wanted to put a 3-stall garage on it. But the city says, oh, you can't do that because it has to be a house or something. But now we have these, and I can show you a picture of
Now,
them.
the other topic is you can buy a lot that's next to your own property, and then you go through the process of combining them. Now they're just one bigger lot, and then everything applies like that property is part of your property where your residential is established. So sounds like they've already done that for this property.
It's almost built, yeah. Anyway, thanks
I-
for your time.
I'd say, short of, we're not enforcement, but
No.
from our perspective, I did some time reading on what other cities have done, and there are a lot better codes out there for solar panel, a lot more thought people have put into it. So I'd be curious. Some communities even regulate how far it can stick above a fence, and I mean, this is very, very basic. It's an up and coming topic. We
Yeah.
should probably get ahead of
Take another
it.
look at that wording.
Absolutely get ahead of it.
Okay. Terry, or,
Gary Thompson, 101 Byron Street. Let me clarify something. If this house was on an interior lot and he combined the two lots and he wasn't on a corner lot, other than being over 6 feet tall, and if he does the berming and the screening, he'd be legal. This is a corner lot. His lot's a corner lot. He combined, so the lot he combined is behind his house. His house faces on State Street. This house faces on 6th Street. So that makes it illegal. The permit never should have been approved because our code says any street, and if your lot faces a street, it's considered as a front yard. So he put a solar array in a front yard, even though it's his backyard, because it faces a street. So this is a non-issue for you guys. This is something we will handle from the council level.
Perfect.
And make sure it gets cleaned up. But yes, you guys need to adopt and
some
figure
height
out,
restrictions.
clean this stuff up, because this is becoming a big issue. We allow them on roofs, but because of the reflection and the screening is necessary. So if we're going to stay with the 6 feet, which now we allow a 6-foot fence in the backyard anyway, it's not a problem, but we probably need to clarify if it's not a fence, and right now I think it's pretty vague. The fences could be an open fence, which really doesn't screen it. If you're in a first-story window next door to this, you're going to have, at certain times of day, you're going to have some pretty good glare coming off these. So good luck, guys. I love you.
so, they,
But yeah,
most solar panels were matte finish, so
Right.
they shouldn't glare.
yeah, but there's certain times of day they do.
They do,
Yeah.
okay.
So anyway, I put this on your work session too, if you would. Come to us with some recommendations, and, I can't say one way or the other what we're going to do with it, but yeah, good luck with this one too. You guys got a lot of work ahead of you. So that's why you guys get paid the big bucks.
Thanks, Gary.
Hi, Catherine Raveling. I live at 107 North 6th Street, so I'm just right next door to the property. And like what he said, the house is actually facing on State Street, and then he combined the one on 6th. So now I look out my kitchen window, and I'm seeing this monstrosity, and it just shouldn't be there. And it's taller than 6 foot by far. I mean, it's got to be at least 9 feet, if not more. I am worried about the glare. I suffer from migraines, and it comes right into my house.
Yeah, we're not going to discuss this topic anymore. 'Cause
Okay.
it looks like the city council and the city's going to take a look at this,
Yeah,
so.
Hector, for peace of mind to the folks that are here with this specific problem, what is their process moving forward? What should they expect from the city moving forward to address this one specific illegal installation?
Well, like I said, we'll have to take it to council, do a review process for that permitting and address the code, but then it's like, we should be looking at that for, like I said, it's like getting like a memo on there for the city, or for the city council, but
Yeah, we don't have it's not a code issue, it's an enforcement issue, correct?
Yeah,
And I don't know what the procedure is
So,
legally
so,
for rejecting
so should they keep an eye
canceling
out for a council agenda? Or-
yeah, for a council agenda, it's like there should be like.
Okay, I want them to know what to expect, what to look for moving forward, because they have a specific concern, and it sounds like it's valid, so.
Cindy?
I'm Cindy Kendall, and I would like to ask the board to comprehensively examine this situation. We have another situation whereby I was asked to review it because it's been installed on city property. And when I went and asked Hector for the permit, there were no specs on the permit that told us about the height of the solar panel or the width of the solar panel or how high it was off the ground and so on and so on. So when you start drafting or getting accumulations of other ordinances throughout the city, and I've talked to Hector about a number of resources that we can use to get some samples, I would really suggest that that application be a unique application because it is affecting other properties so dramatically. It's not just a garage that's got a matte finish to, or a garden shed or something like that. This is pretty comprehensive, and then that way he has the information readily available to make sure that these things are going to be in compliance with what you're going to put into the ordinance. But I feel that this is really almost 2 or 3 or 4 years ahead of us as far as how many solar panels are in town. I happen to have solar on my roof as it is, and so I notice all those kinds of things now a little bit more than most people would. But the number of arrays that are going up that have not been permitted is pretty high. So now that it's on your radar, you'll notice them too.
Okay, so that's another topic we're going to have to discuss. So,
Lee Botter, 401 Orchard Drive. I firmly believe in solar, but I did take the liberty of looking up those address on the county assessor record while we were speaking, and the house that's in front of it, the big, I guess you call it a monstrosity, would that be the correct? That's one parcel, and then the parcel behind, it has not been combined.
well, it takes time for
So,
those
no,
maps to
I do
show
realize
up,
that. It
so.
was done in October. Mark
I've
Eaton
seen
had told it.
I've seen it
so-
take a year for the city.
Okay.
for the
Yeah, I got-
county's
I just
got-
wanted to point that out to you
geographic
guys,
stuff
Yeah.
to be
that it's
combined,
separate.
so.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to point that out.
There's sometimes properties that are still like that, they're together, they're separate still, they haven't caught up.
No, I understand. I'm a real estate investor on the site, so I do understand that, but I wanted to just point that out. Thank you.
Okay, so if you would, Hector, on this topic, would you get us some examples of some ordinances from some other communities? And I'm not sure if maybe we don't need a consultant to make us a recommendation on this because we're not that knowledgeable on backyard solar. And I can see height restrictions, I can see getting a permit first and what?
Special use permit.
Yeah, almost a special use permit so that neighbors have some input.
And it's
And,
case by case then, so then, because you're not gonna fit one thing for all. But like, yeah, for all applications, but like, if it's case by case, it might be easier and more doable.
So we should, as he says, consider a special use permit for ground arrays.
Yep, and if there are any industry best practices that can be found out there, that'd be great, because you also
Yeah.
don't want to design something that's impossible to build.
Right. And probably a limit on the size of them to start with so that we don't end up with a backyard is a huge array because it's a fourplex apartment or something that are trying to power the whole fourplex.
And would that correspond at all with the green space requirement in the code? How you have to have so much green space?
It's set to accessory buildings, so it goes based off like the square footage on there.
Yeah. Okay. So Hector, what do we have for future? Anything you've been seeing topics for any future zoning meetings?
There might be a rezoning coming up, maybe not this month, but the following month. It's just, they're combining two parcels and they're different residential, and I think it's 7 Westwood, so that might be on the agenda here, maybe in the next month or two.
Okay. So with that, the planning and zoning meeting is adjourned, and we'll look forward to getting an email from you, Hector. I understand. Okay. Well, not every one of us gets to meet or make it to every meeting anyway, so.